Hello and welcome to Poetically Inspiring Change. I'm Angela Braxton Johnson, a Black, fat, oldish, disabled sister poet and a woman of faith. This podcast is a creative space for intersectional healing, Black joy, and diet culture recovery. Please note that some episodes may touch on sensitive topics like trauma, mental health, or body image as I share my personal journey and stories. I approach these topics with care. Also, this is a body size inclusive, judgment free space. But should you feel uncomfortable, please take good care of yourself and come back to listen whenever you are ready. Thank you so much for being here. Now let's inspire change together, honey child.
Poetically inspiring change. Poetically inspiring change for life, joy, peace in your body. Poetically inspiring.
Hey y'all,
change.
Angela Braxton Johnson here with Poetically Inspiring Change. And I'm so happy that you've joined me on my podcast today. Today's episode, I'm going to be talking about access to my energy is a privilege. I naturally cared for people because that's what I grew up doing. So it took me a while, y'all, to unlearn caring for people more than caring for myself. Oh, and here's the lesson that I got. During that time, I was working at Jefferson High School, and there was a sister who worked there, and she came in doing work with another program. It was called Dada Kidogo. Some of y'all listening to this, if you live in Portland or you were in Portland around that time in the Pacific Northwest or worked at Jefferson High School, you probably remember that program. They partnered with Project Network. And anyway, so she was coming in and we'd meet up in the same area because she'd have a group in that space, and I would meet with I had an office in that same area. And one time it was like the Lord led her to talk to me, and she said, Angela, she was like, how are you, girl? And I was like, well, I'm doing pretty good, smiling, trying to be, wearing the mask. I was like, just kind of tired, but I'm good. And she was like, no. She was like, girl, you are not taking care of yourself. And I was like, yeah, probably not the way I need to, because, I'm so busy taking care of everybody else. And I didn't know how to be a wife, how to be a mom, how to be, an employee, and on top of all of those things, y'all, we were also, my husband and I, very active in our church. So I worked in the music ministry. I worked with the children's department. I worked with the youth department. I helped teach Sunday school. I worked with the Boys and Girls Clubs. I also worked with the women's ministry. I mean, multiple things. And the same thing with my husband. My husband was involved with multiple ministries. And all of that, my husband would help clean the church on Saturdays. Mind you, he was gone all day, Monday through Fridays, unless it was a non-school day. We relished those days because those got to be just like rest, family days, But I remember her saying, girl, you're not taking care of yourself. You need to take care of yourself. And then she said, this is what got me. She said, the Bible says you are supposed to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing that. Like, I love my neighbor. I'm nice. I was in high school. I was voted most friendliest, and I think most talented or something. Those were the two awards that the class gave me, or how you vote, like most popular, most all of this. I was the friendliest and talented. I wasn't the most talented, but that was one of the awards. Anyway, being friendly, caring for people, that's in me. Like, I love to help people. If I see someone in need, anything I have, I'll be willing to give. Like, yeah, I'm loving my neighbor as I love myself. That's what I thought. Like, yeah, I'm already doing that. But she said, you're supposed to be loving yourself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, like you love yourself. And then when I when I started to think about that, and she like really broke it down for me, I wasn't I wasn't eating well. I wasn't drinking enough water. I didn't have any kind of movement. I didn't have any kind of meditative practice. I prayed, but my prayer life was very um it wasn't what it is now. You know, I was too busy. I mean, when do I have time to really when did I have time back then? There were not enough hours in the day for me to care for myself the way I needed to. That's what I thought. I was so wrong. I felt a little bit convicted because once she broke it down, I didn't feel like shame or anything but like, oh, I'm supposed to be taking care of myself. It was just a huge lesson. And it took me some time to learn how to love myself, to learn how to love myself the way I loved others. It took some years. Today, I'm pretty good at it. Um, so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that lesson. And I hope that you get something out of that. I want to share a couple of more poems before I end this session today. I'm sharing from my book called Black Fury Fierce Recovery. And I have it on my Kindle. It's an ebook. And if you are interested in buying it, it's a book, it's about 200 pages. And I'll share some of the topics that are in the book. But first, I just want to show you what the cover looks like. For those of you who are listening, I'll just describe that the cover is a picture of me, a black, fat, older woman. Um, my shoulders and arms are bare. My legs are mostly bare. I'm sitting with, one leg kind of crossed over the other, and one hand is on my knee, one knee, and the other hand is on my shoulder. I have a head wrap on and garment. It's blue. Have like bold makeup on with blue eyeshadow. And it's just, you know, me showing that my body is just me and a black woman. Um, and it's just beautiful. The pictures of this particular picture was taken by Rachel Hadiashar of Zing. Let's see, Zing Studios, Sherwood, I believe it's called Zing Studio Sherwood. So this is what the cover looks like. I love the cover. And when you go into the book, and it's about 200 pages. It also includes visual art. So there's body art. If you're squeamish about seeing black bodies, black fat bodies, then you probably need this book, or or not. It's just, but it shows a lot of body art, bodies, and all kinds of other art too. Some of the topics in this book are, and I'm looking at the table of contents. Black herstory instead of Black history, it's Black her story, and intersectionality, what I talk about a lot on this podcast. Black Lives Matter in 2020. So I wrote a lot of poems about going through that hard time. As far as replenishing energy, for me, one of the things that I do that helps me replenish my energy is writing poetry, especially, and writing stories. Black Lives Matter in 2020. Those, let's see, faith and pandemic. Have poems about faith, about pandemic, about Black love. There's poems about recovery, fat positive inspiration, and just inspiration in general. So I'm going to share this next poem is called That Time. Oh, and I just want to show you, this is some of the art. So as you kind of go through the pages, you'll see, different, so the art, it's not all bodies. There's like beaches but it's, oh, and some of the photos in here, I had a couple of different sessions with photographers. And one of the sessions was with Sharon Thomas, who's a sister girl who I've known for a while. We went to the same church for a number of years. And Sharon she took some beautiful photos of me as well. And I'm going to the poem. Here we go. It's called That Time. I'm going to show you what the picture looks like. So this is a picture of me. Hopefully you can see it, those of you who are watching on video. And I'm wearing Afrocentric red, black, and it's like a red background with designs of cream and dark brown and kind of like a red, kind of like a goldish tan color designs. And it's a head wrap to match, and a white top and a brown long jacket and jewelry, just silver and black jewelry. And I'm wearing this because the whole thing about for me is like I'm gonna show up in this body, and one of the ways that I'm preserving my energy is all the energy that diet culture takes up, telling me that my body is either too much or not enough, and all of these different rules and isms and points of discrimination. Like when I just begin to quiet that and accepting myself, then I'm showing up how I am. And that's what this is all about. It's about me showing up in this here body and just living and loving. So this poem is called That Time. That time you were feeling cute and colorful and creative while rocking black Jesus and curves and courageous. That time you were stressed and depressed and oppressed, but when graced with his presence, you remembered how blessed. That time you were feeling spiritually whole, sharing love, tears, and words for the healing of souls. That time you believed and received divine showers, blessed others with your presence, for minutes turned hours, displaying your uniqueness, preserving your essence. Snap, 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 snap. So as I begin to come to a close, I just want to talk about or ask the question, what are some things that you do to preserve your energy? Now, I'm a woman of faith, and I talked about plugging into source, plugging into God, like it's in him that I live, move, breathe, and have my being. But you may not believe that. So, we have a free choice and free will, but that's something me plugging in the church, plugging in the source. That means having prayer time. That means having devotion, writing, going to church. Having corporate worship, those kinds of things. That's one of the ways that I plug in, and writing is one of the main things that I love to do to get a recharge. What I love about writing is whatever is in me, whatever I'm feeling, all of the emotions, it's a way that I can get it out onto the page, out of my body into this big world, because there's way more out here than there is inside this body and inside this brain and my mind. So that's one of the things. Being with family, oh my goodness. Being with my husband, being with my children and my grandchildren. Ooh, those are the most delicious things, just to be with my family. Spending time with my siblings, my sister girls, I call my sister friends from way back when. Like those are things that give me a charge, being recharged, and moving. Like grateful moves is something that I do, where grateful moves is something that I started in 2020, and basically, it's moving with gratitude as the motivator for the movement. It's like being grateful, tapping into gratitude, and then moving in ways that honors our bodies. So grateful moves, and some of the ways I like to move, some of the things I like to do for movement is I love to play ping pong, love to play ping pong. And if you are, in the area, in the PDX, Pacific Northwest area, Greater Portland, Vancouver, Washington area, I I mean, we just might have to meet up at a community center or something and play some ping pong. If you know me closely, I'll invite you to my house because I have one here. Um, so playing ping pong, I used to love playing tennis. Still love playing tennis. I got some moves in this right arm. This left arm, not so much because of this left shoulder. But I love to dance, love to move. I love music. I love singing. I love playing my flute. Again, this left shoulder doesn't allow me to do it as much as I want to, but um, let's see, moving in the water, aqua yoga, aqua movement, riding my bike. I mean, just anything that gives you pleasure and gives you joy, and that helps you to recharge. Oh, and rest, 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 rest. I never realized how rest deprived I've been for so much of my life because I'm a hustler for one. And again, growing up in this body, this here body, I always had to work extra hard because of the way my learning style. My mother demanded that I got good grades. But what was hard about that is that my learning style, some things were not easy for me to learn. So, but I learned it and I got good grade. I got A's and B's because those were the only acceptable grades in my household growing up. So, anyway, yeah, being able to have rest, being able to rest. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna be resting soon after I finish recording this episode. So I want to encourage you to to think about what gives you joy. Oh, and I'm gonna end it with this. One of my favorite things to do to replenish my energy is to go to the ocean, to go to the beach. And when I go to the beach, oh, it's just so beautiful. For one, I'm breathing in the crisp, the crisp saltwater air. Being able to look out on the ocean, and just look out, and as far as you can see, there's just waves and waves and water, and just the ocean is just so big, and it's so amazing how it's that much water and how it just comes up to a certain point and then it stops and it goes back. I mean, there's a lot more water in the world. I've been told. I'm not a scientist. This is what I've been told. More water than land. So the water can truly overtake us, but it doesn't. It's just amazing. It's incredible. But I love to be able to see the water and the ocean and be on the sand and see the sky, and it's just so beautiful, and the quiet of that. So that's one of the things that I love to do. And if I can't be at the ocean, I love, even by any body of water, like a river or a lake even. I have a little pond in my backyard. That's a blessing. That's one of these later in life blessings that we got, with this house that we live in a few years ago, almost a few years ago. And if you don't have access to some of those things, if you have access to, like YouTube, or turning on like YouTube, you can look up like waterfalls, or different types of peaceful, what do you call it, environments, or peaceful, like, I don't know, you can just put in things like peaceful sounds, or nature sounds, and it'll bring up all these different beautiful environments and sounds. And sometimes it's just quiet, but you can just look. You can also turn the volume down if you don't want to have the sound, or you can turn the screen down and just listen. I mean, it's just, for me, I like to also turn on the fireplace sometimes. I like to turn on the real fireplace. I miss my old fireplace, my wood burning fireplace, but I also like to turn on the fireplace just to set the ambiance. I have like these little fake cameras, because candles, fake candles, because real candles, a lot of times when I blow the smoke out, it bothers me, bothers my lungs. But I love candles. So whatever, these are things that give me joy, that helps me to receive pleasure and and to replenish. And there's nothing better than some good old sleep. If you can rest, if you can access rest. Sometimes people live in like loud households, or you might live near train tracks, or just a busy city area. It might be hard to have to experience the quiet that you might experience, like going out in nature, taking a hike, or going to the ocean. If you have earplugs, you might be able to put those on. If you have noise cancellation, those are really fancy. You can quiet everything, and just, you can even have apps like, I like the Abide app, because you can turn that on, and they're like scripture based meditations. But also there's other apps. There's so many different apps that you can use for. I think one is called Shine. I think that was created by a couple of women. Um, so yeah, find things. Oh, and even creating, like listening to the sounds. A lot of times I turn on my husband and I like to turn on the water, sounds of the water, just to have like that white noise, just that, so it's not like quiet. But also when it's not cold outside, we just crack the window, because we can hear the pond from our backyard. So those are things that give me joy. Find out what those, like, you find one, two, or three things that you can do. I'd love for you to share them with me. If you would go to my socials, you can go to my website and do a contact form, and let me know there. But you can also go to my socials at Poetically Inspiring Change. That's poetically underscore inspiring underscore change. And get down in the comments when you find the episode of where I'm talking about access to my energy is a privilege. And tell me how you guard your energy. Do what you can to guard your energy, guard your spirit, guard your mind, guard your body, and as best as you can, and replenish your energy. I want to say one more thing. My aunt Jackie used to always say, energy produces energy. And so sometimes when I am so tired, but also sometimes when I haven't moved in a long time and I just don't have a lot of energy, it's crazy how I can just take like a 10-minute walk, or walk around the block a few times, or walk around the house, or run or play with my dogs. How just doing something like that gives me a charge. So actually moving, not for weight loss or anything like that, but just moving for just honoring your body, can actually help you have more energy. Okay. All right. So I'm going to close this with a poem that I wrote called The Beach Preach. If you can imagine yourself, you might want to close your eyes if you want, but imagine that you're on a beach and you're hearing the sound of the waves, the sounds of the ocean, as I share this poem called The Beach Preach. When I go to the beach, I look on high, peering out beyond reach. I say, my, my. Sensing my creator, I blush as I see the ocean kiss the sky, and I say, preach, Heavenly Father, preach. When I look at the waves as they charge towards me, then choose to behave, they recede with grace. I take my shoes off on this hallowed ground, sometimes picking up seashells found, stepping in, naked when feeling brave, knowing the Christ who walked these waves, then took out time to save my life. So I do a little dance in the watery sand, lift up my hands with surrender and praise, and I say, preach, Jesus, preach. When I breathe in the fresh, crisp, salt air, breathing in peace, breathing out all of my cares, I think about these waters The serene sound of waves rushing in, pulling out, rushing in, pulling out, making love to me right here in the sand where the water meets the land. The ocean leaves trinkles of life in the foam. Being on this beach feels like home. The endless body of water, the unique creatures living in it, so divine. I say, preach, Holy Spirit, preach. Snap, 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 snap. Thank you so much for listening in, for tuning in to my podcast. I'm so grateful that you're here. Again, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear input. If I said anything that speaks to you, please let me know. Share in the comments. If it encourages you, or you know a sister friend or a brother or somebody that can be inspired by this, please share this with them. And if you even want to give me some constructive criticism, I'm here for that as well. I'd love for you to subscribe, to like, to follow, to share. And I hope to see you again on Poetically Inspiring Change. Bye, y'all. Mwah.